Marco.
Sean, listen, I'm gonna give you a break. I know back in San Francisco, you carry a lot of weight, but it is your favorite thing to talk
It
about.
is my favorite topics,
I mean,
security
how
and risk
weird are
management.
you?
I am
Tell
weird
me.
in that regard, yes. But I was going to ask you, I don't know if we ever formally named these chats. Are the chats off the road? Because we're
I
heading
don't know
back.
if that sounds good. I don't like off the road. They're after the road. Let's
After
put it
RSAC
that way.
Conference. That's what we're doing today.
Yeah, but you know what? I want to dive into this because, first of all, Rob, so good to see you
Yes.
again. We got to spend time together on location, have good conversation, and more. So, hey, that was
And
fun.
more,
And
Mark. Now
more.
that Marco, that sounds very suspicious. I'm not going to lie. So
It
we
does.
are going to have to explain that for people.
And I'm all of a sudden very grateful I wasn't part of that. And
Yes.
Yeah, we'll get to that for sure. We'll get to that. But what I was gonna say is that I think this week or the 2 weeks after a conference like that is always a time to think back and like, oh, what kind of conversation did I have? Does anything change? Is it just blah blah blah, and now we're back to where we were, or actually got some really good nuggets to actually act on it? And that's actually, I'm really passionate about this because I'm writing a recap piece for that. And so I want to start with that. I want to see, Rob, ThreatLocker there. I know you had a lot of action at the booth and a lot of meetings, positive stuff for sure. But overall,
Fantastic. I don't mean to sound surprised, but I kind of am because I went last year and I wasn't quite as impressed as I was this year. So I don't know if that's a reflection on me or on RSA, possibly a little bit of both. As I mentioned to you, the really great thing from my perspective is seeing more customers there than last year, for example. That's something that's great to see because it means fundamentally we've got more customers who go to shows like this. So that was really good. Getting feedback from them was phenomenal. Having the opportunity to show some fun stuff to not yet customers as well was really, really great. We got some amazing feedback. One of the probably the most popular or interesting thing that people enjoyed was we did some live demonstrations at the booth involving these guys, rubber duckies. We got our hands or acquired a quite an interesting PowerShell script recently, which basically captures screenshots, runs on machine, captures screenshots every X amount of time. We've changed it down to a minute and basically uploads the screenshot to a location online. Showing people that how easy it is to do a PowerShell and the fact that it doesn't get picked up or detected by anything was really, really cool. And then just turning ThreatLocker on and going, well, look, it just got blocked. That got some phenomenal feedback. I mean, it really opened people's eyes. We had some people come up, prospects who were considering other allow listing solutions. As soon as I showed them that, they were like, oh, maybe just what can run and what can't run isn't that important. Maybe we do need to pay some attention to what things can do as well. So that was fantastic. But again, it's the kind of opportunity that you only have face to face. I mean, you can talk about these things on calls and conferences and stuff, but showing somebody face to face live, hey, do you want to plug this into your computer and see what happens? No. Okay, so you're not so convinced by your cybersecurity solution after all.
There you go. Did you run and the team? Of course, you had a bunch of many people from your team. I know you're going to be even more people from the team are going to be a black hat. I already know that the scoop. So excited for what's going on there. But while you were there, did they get the feeling that everybody already was aware of what zero trust is? Of course, we know, but ThreatLocker solution was, or were people like, hey, I didn't even know you guys were around? Because, I mean, you're a relatively young company.
7 years, 8 years, 7, 8 years.
I've seen older.
Yeah, well, absolutely. But yeah, no, it was another nice thing to observe was that there seemed to be a lot more people seeking us out rather than us having to kind of accost them and chase them into the booth. So people actually coming to talk to us because they've heard about us as well is, again, another nice to see.
And were there any surprising questions that you think the team heard that that
It
came by
depends on
the
your
booth?
definition of surprising. So how do you use
I'm not going to
AI?
define it. There you go.
How do you
just
use AI? What are your AI agents? I mean, as you know, it's look, it's many things. It's a booth contest in some ways. So whose booth is biggest and fanciest and best is part of it. I was actually quite happy that wasn't a competition that we engaged in. We just had a wide open booth with seats. People could sit down, talk. So we didn't get into the big fancy, goats or baby goats
step
and
right up,
puppies.
step right up. We have
But
cats.
I knew the goats were coming up.
To be honest, I knew that when I heard about the goats, I suggested, or we suggested puppies, and then I heard somebody else had puppies, and I was a bit disappointed in that because I thought we'd have an inn next year with puppies. But yeah, no goats, no puppies, no
the goats
fancy
and puppies
cars.
union.
No,
I want to know.
hmm?
The goats and puppies union.
Oh.
Yeah.
The union workers are allowed there. I don't know.
True, yeah, but yeah, so none of that was required. But as I said, people did equally come seeking us out this year, more so than last year, which was again nice to see.
Yeah, for sure. Let's look a little bit back very quickly, just to remind and to invite people to go back, go on our coverage page, and listen to the conversation. It was much longer than this that we had on location with the nice fancy cameras and everything. And we talk about thinking at cybersecurity is something to do to try to prevent as much as possible problem. You can't avoid them, but it's starting to switch towards that mindset. So let's remind a little bit that, and then we can invite people to look at that.
Yeah, I mean, fundamentally, it's about balancing reactiveness, which is fundamentally what cybersecurity has been for 20 plus years. It's wait for something bad to happen and then hopefully stop it or clear it up or block it or delete it or respond to it. And adding to that or complementing that with proactive controls. So look, why don't we just stop the thing from running in the first place, and then we don't need to respond to it? Or why don't we stop PowerShell from being able to reach out to the internet, and then we don't need to hope to detect the fact that somebody's uploading screenshots to it? It's about fundamentally combining those two approaches together to give true layered security. Because a lot of people think that they've got layered security because they've got layers. But the problem is very often their layers are very similar. And if you've got lots of similar layers, which is like AV and EDR and MDR and XDR and NDR and everything that ends at DNR, they're all fundamentally doing the same thing. They're all trying to detect and respond. So is there any point in having lots of layers of the same thing? Why don't you have a layer of control? Why don't you have a layer of proactive rather than 5 layers of reactive? And as I said, that's the message that we're trying to get across to people is, look, layers are good, layers are important, but they should be dissimilar. They should be not the same thing in slightly different clothes, shall we say.
Yeah, I'm picturing layers of jackets. If all you have is a bunch of down-filled jackets, many layers of that's not going to help you in the summer, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I want to another thing we talked about, and I'm wondering what some of the feedback was from prospects and customers as you met with them. The idea of simplicity on this journey to achieving zero trust, because I think understanding what it is, yes, we all know the term, but understanding what it is in relation to our own environments and the first steps we have to take in the journey that follows can be very different, and ambiguity breeds confusion and then perhaps even a lack of starting. So what kind of feedback did you get from folks about the ease of use that you bring to the table?
Well, I mean, that is kind of the important part. That is the secret sauce. I mean, making these things, this approach that we espouse the virtues of, manageable, achievable, attainable, is, as I said, it's kind of the secret sauce of what ThreatLocker does so well. I mean, without getting into any specifics, there is an organization that recently got hit that I know who had been trying to implement a similar solution to our own for years. And I mean, literally for years, they have been undergoing a project to try and implement this particular tool. And they still hadn't got to the point where they could turn it on. That's useless. I mean, that's trying to implement something that is effectively unmanageable or unimplementable is a pointless exercise. And realistically, it's going to be pointless right up to the time when you get popped. So that's why it needs to be something that you can deploy. It needs to be something that you can spend hours on rather than years on, and be able to turn on and know that you're not going to break things. So that, as I said, it's one of the secret sauces of why ThreatLocker is as successful as it is, because we make it manageable. We do a lot of the heavy lifting behind the scenes for you, so you don't have to.
Yeah. One of the things I heard.
Secret sauce is.
Don't go there yet.
Okay. No.
3 times. I counted.
We will get there, Marco. We will get there.
Hold your horses.
At least I hope we will. Otherwise, people are going to be very much asking questions.
I know. I might cut it off. Just no. I want to touch on this quickly, because one of the things that stuck out for me is this idea of technical debt, and I think you just described a shameful example of that, where but companies buy a lot of technology, and they buy a lot of protection, they buy a lot of detection, they buy a lot of response, and ultimately they end up with a bunch of stuff, all those layers that don't always live up to the new stuff that's coming.
Well, look, the other problem with that is different agents. How many different agents do I need to run on my machine to give me security I want? How many different portals, how many different products do I have to get my staff trained up on? How many things do I need to understand? I mean, there's I saw statistics at one point that some companies have like 13 different tools, different portals they have to log into, different agents they have to run on machines. And I mean, that's madness. So that is one of the things that we've very much been trying to do over the last number of years. I mean, we started off with 3 or 4 parts to what we do, 3 or 4 different products effectively. I think we're now up to 12. But again, it's 12 different products, 12 different things fundamentally that you can do with one agent through one portal with, as I said, one product to know and understand. I mean, vendor consolidation has been a thing for quite some time, insofar as, one company buys another company and, hey, now we do this thing, but they don't really think through the portals, the integrations, do they work well together, all that kind of stuff. Whereas our approach to it is quite different, which is basically we can do all of these things, so we're going to build them ourselves as best in class.
I love it. Yeah, we also talked about the merger and acquisition stuff too. There's an episode there for that. All right, Marco, I know you're chomping at the bit to talk.
No, I'm still wondering about the secret sauce.
Secret sauce. Well, look, full disclosure, myself and Marco, we did pizza together. Now,
and I didn't.
I'm
very sad about that.
I feel sorry for you on one hand, but on the other hand, I'm not quite sure that I do, Sean, which is I learned something on this pizza exercise that myself and Marco went on. Now, the thing that I did learn is the place that we went for the pizza is still, I would wager, the best pizza restaurant, probably not only in San Francisco, but one of the best pizza restaurants I've ever been to. I did make a fundamental mistake, though, this time around, which is this time I ordered Detroit pizza. Now, I'd never had a Detroit pizza before. And to be perfectly honest, I'm not really sure if I'll have a Detroit pizza again, because the thing was about this thick and basically uneatable. Now, I am a massive proponent of the pizza, you fold it, you eat it approach. No time for anything that involves knives and forks. If you need a knife and fork to eat a pizza, it's too thick. But
I have one I'll turn you on to. It's a buddy of mine that...
is it fold and eat a pizza?
It's not fold and eat.
No,
we don't want it.
Interested.
I
don't want to buy whatever you're selling.
You're not getting the memos.
No.
But Rob, I know the pizza is good, and it's a good friend of ours, so that we can definitely promote.
I will accept that maybe this pizza is good pizza for you,
Right.
All I'm saying is, for me, it is not good pizza,
right,
because good pizza is folded, eat it.
Well,
Um,
I want to say something about the event and wrap with this, which is the community, right? So it's not just what happened to the booth. It's not just what happened on the floor and the many conversation we have. It's what happened all around. I mean, there is hotel booked, there is meeting going on all over the places. And then there is the events. And, you can go to the big fancy one where a lot of people, we decided to go for pizza. I learned a lot as an Italian, learning a lot about pizza. That's something. I mean, I didn't even know a Detroit pizza existed. I heard the Chicago one, but then we saw the thin one. But I have to say, yeah, little bready, but it was good. Come on. I mean, the secret sauce was there.
Look, okay, we can both agree, Marco, that the sauce was awesome. Whether it be secret or not secret, I mean, I don't know about this particular sauce. The sauce was awesome. And what I can tell you, and you know how big these things were, that
It's scary.
basically one of them would have comfortably fed four of us. But we did repeat our trick from last year, which was we found a very grateful homeless person and basically gave him half of the two pizzas, for which he was immensely grateful. So basically we both had, or we all had, again, some enjoyed it more than others. As I said, I'm going to take a hard pass next time on Detroit pizza. But the very nice homeless man who we found to give it to on the way back to the hotel was equally happy, and I'm hoping enjoyed it more than I did.
For sure. And I'm looking forward for next year to try the thin crust for sure.
You and me both.
And have more conversations and find again the community there. But in the meantime, I know we're going to find it in other places around the world. That's going to be at InfoSec in London. Sean is going to be in Barcelona for a WASP before that. And then we're all back in Black Hat, Las Vegas, and who knows where we're going to go next. So, Rob, it was a fantastic catch up with you after, before, and during the event. Big fan of ThreatLocker, and we're looking forward to many more stories together.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Marco. Thank you, Sean.
Thanks, Rob. Good to see you.